Hey there, thanks for coming. Makima is the only character in Chainsaw Man that sends shivers down my spine. Since the moment she was introduced, I found her terrifying for a reason I couldn't quite put my finger on. Until now. Here's what you need to know. Makima is a mother, and all her children work for her. In a world plagued by demons, the public safety devil hunters are humanity's last line of defense. Each member of the Corps a lost soul, not driven by prestige or glory, but something far lower and less noble. These devil hunters don't live very long, nor do they make very much. Instead, they're in this line of work because they all share one common goal. Yes, to save humanity, but more crucially, to exterminate every last demon plaguing our world. If the Devil Hunter Corps were a living being, it'd be one driven by vengeance. And Makima is its head. She's the brains of the operation, and dictates who does what, where, and how. And she's really good at her job, and she'd better be, because if she screws up, the world will be overrun by destruction and chaos. The devil hunters know that, so they oblige her and gladly bend to her will. But while recruiting and coordinating promising devil hunters is an absolutely vital part of Makima's job, where she really shines is making sure they never want to leave. Makima at first glance seems like a resounding force for good, leading the fight against the devils and all that. But something in her eyes, when she first met Denji, has me convinced that she's just as bad, if not worse, than the devils themselves. There's an ancient Greek myth, the myth of Oedipus, the tragic hero that was prophesied to kill his father and marry his mother. And no matter how hard anyone tried, nobody was able to stop this twisted prophecy from coming true. The story was originally a commentary of free will, pitting the wills of the characters in the story and what they wanted against the will of the writer and what he wanted for the story. But today, we generally use the name Oedipus in the term Oedipus complex to describe a son with a really unhealthy relationship with his mom. And I mean, really unhealthy. And I think that's the same kind of relationship all of Makima's Devil Hunter employees have with her. We start to see glimpses of this in her first interactions with Denji. She offers him everything his sheltered mind could have ever wanted, and literally makes his dreams come true starting from episode 1. Plus, she's kinda hot. So no duh, Denji falls for her. Hard. I mean, who wouldn't? But the thing about Oedipal mothers, they're not making your dreams come true out of the kindness of their hearts. They've got their own motives, and they're just as selfish as they seem kind. Oedipal mothers want to control you, and they'll work to achieve that. Makima does everything in her power to manipulate the devil hunters and make them fall in love with her. Notice, Denji's not the only one infatuated with her, is he? Makima doesn't just dangle the deepest desires of her children in front of her, like a carrot on a stick. No, that's amateur play. She actually follows through. She makes them so comfortable in their relationships with her that they never want to leave her. More accurately, they can't. That's why you got that confused boner when Makima was first introduced in episode 1. Why she seemed really hot but just a little bit off at the same time. That feeling of unease, that chill down your spine, all of that was your body warning you, hinting to you that this is a boss fight you're not prepared for. In fact, the only time Makima was truly genuine in the entire anime so far was when she first met Denji and asks him,
"You have two options. Either you die by my hand as a depraved devil, or you let me keep you as a human being. For the record, my pets get delicious food."
That's the trade deal offered up by the Oedipal mom. I will give you anything you could ever want, and all you have to do in exchange is everything I say. All Oedipal moms are dangerous, sure. Makima probably more than most, but they're also pretty tragic. A lot of the time, their desires to control and manipulate their children to never leave them don't come from a place of malevolence or evil. Rather, these behaviors come from a place of loneliness or benign narcissism. I haven't read the Chainsaw Man manga, but if I was a betting man, I'd wager that Makima is the former, a horribly lonely individual that resorts to her manipulative and controlling behaviors so she never has to be alone again. I personally have experienced what it's like dealing with Oedipal mothers. More than one, actually. And I have no problem telling you that it's great at the start, but over time, it turns you into a slave. I'm an only child and therefore, my parents are kinda overprotective. For the first 18 years of my life, my mom especially sheltered me and did everything for me. She'd cook, she'd clean, she'd do my laundry, just like how Makima showers Denji with the comforts of life. So when it was finally time for me to go off and live on my own, I didn't know how to do a damn thing. I could barely boil an egg, I didn't know how to work a washing machine, I didn't even know how to cross a road on my own. Yeah, it was that bad. I had the body of an 18-year-old, right? And I was doing 18-year-old things, but in my mind, and I was still a kid who didn't even know how to take care of himself. And though moving out and living on my own taught me how to do chores, cook, and cross the street by myself, the effects of being a passenger in somebody else's life for the first 18 years of mine still linger to this day. Being terrible at relationships, chronic laziness, a destroyed sense of direction, all my worst qualities can be traced back to being a spoiled little shit in my youth. It didn't really hit me until a couple years ago, when my last girlfriend broke up with me, that I was carrying this into my relationships too. While I was living with her, I'd expect her to do all the cooking, all the laundry, while I was just sitting on my lazy ass, playing video games, and outsourcing all the things my mom used to do for me to her, essentially transforming her unwittingly into my second Oedipal mother. And after a few months of that, she left. And I don't blame her. So why does this matter to you? Well, maybe you're the same as me. And in that case, I hope that in sharing my embarrassing personal stories with you, that you can avoid falling into the same dumb traps I did. And if you're already in your mid-20s, but you're still living with your parents, still relying on your mom to bring you food and change your diaper, that this is enough of a wake-up call for you. That hearing this makes you at least want to start getting your shit together. And if you're already completely independent, living on your own, and are completely capable of changing your own diaper, then let my dumb story be a warning to you that Oedipal mothers don't necessarily have to be related to you, or even women for that matter. Watch the people in your life, and though it might seem awesome to have them dote on you and take care of you all the time, giving up too much responsibility in exchange for comfort will make you weak and dependent in the long run. You'll become fat in the head, fat in the body, and then you're screwed if they ever leave. And if you're like me in the past and you're thinking, oh come on, you're just being dramatic, it's not that bad, then I need you to hear this. You have a choice to make, my dear friend, and both options are gonna suck. One, you can either choose to start becoming a man and sacrifice the nice little comforts you have now in exchange for responsibility for your own life. Or two, you forever remain a child under your mother's wing, fully knowing that one day she's gonna die and you'll be left alone in the world. A big baby unable to take care of himself. All your friends will be from Discord, and no woman in her right mind will even want to come close to you. As for Denji in Chainsaw Man, I think that in the near future, he'll wise up to his Oedipal mom, Makima, and start to rebel against her, eventually breaking free from her grasp and finally growing up. Because when it really boils down, you don't have a choice. You have to pick your poison in life. Either suffer and become a man, or suffer and stay a child. There's no easy way out. And I believe this next video will help you in your journey.